Assalamu alaikum everyone. We'll continue with the second chapter today, that is utility analysis. And in that we'll be studying a very important topic today, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. Now this law is very much important as far as your economics paper is concerned. You will have at least one answer based on this law in your economics paper. It could be in the form of give reason or short note. It could be in the form of agree, disagree, or even in the form of long answer. So this particular law, this particular answer is very much important. Law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of DMU was first proposed by Professor Gaussen in the year 1854, and therefore it is called as Gaussen's first law of consumption. But it was discussed in detail by Professor Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economics, published in the year 1890. The law of diminishing marginal utility is universal in character. It is based on the common consumer behavior that utility diminishes with the reduction in the intensity of a want. The law is based on two fundamental principles. The first one is the more we have, the less we want of it. And the second one is only a single want is satiable at a time. That is, we'll consider only one want from a particular commodity at a time. Statement of law. What did Alfred Marshall said? Alfred Marshall said, other things being equal, the additional benefit which a person derives from the increase in the stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. In other words, marginal utility that any consumer derives from successive units of a particular commodity goes on diminishing as his or her total consumption of that commodity increases. In short, the more of a thing you have, the less you want to have more of it. That means with every increase in the consumption, the marginal utility will diminish. The successive units of commodities will diminish or will reduce the marginal utility. For example, for a thirsty person, the marginal utility derived from the first unit of glass of water will be more than the marginal utility that he gets from the second glass of water. With every successive glass of water, his MU will go on diminishing. Now the point here to notice is the statement starts with the word other things being equal. As you have studied in microeconomics that the laws in microeconomics are based on certain assumptions, the Professor Alfred Marshall have taken assumption here that when he is studying marginal utility or law of DMU, he is assuming demand, supply, income and other factors to be constant. That is, if all other factors are constant, only in that scenario the law will hold true. The law of DMU can be explained with the help of the following schedule. As you can see, the first column represents the number of units of commodity and the second column represents marginal utility. As you can see, the units of commodity are increasing 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and the marginal utility on the other hand is diminishing from 10 to 8 to 4 and so on, and at a point it is becoming negative as well. Explanation of the schedule. When the consumer consumes the first unit, the marginal utility is 10. As consumption increases, the MU decreases from 10 to 8 to 4. This proves that as the stock of the commodity increases, the MU goes on declining, the MU goes on diminishing. Further, when the fifth unit of the commodity is consumed, the MU becomes 0. This point is called as the point of maximum satisfaction or point of satiety. When the consumer consumes the sixth unit, the MU becomes negative, that is -2. This particular point indicates negative utility or disutility. This is what the law is all about, that with every successive unit consumed, the marginal utility goes on diminishing. Graphical representation of law of DMU. As you all have studied the concept of total utility and marginal utility, you people are very much familiar with this particular curve. The curve of MU, or curve of marginal utility, slopes downward from left to right. The curve shows positive marginal utility, zero marginal utility, and also negative marginal utility. In the diagram, units of commodity are measured on x-axis and marginal utility is measured on y-axis. Various points of MU are plotted on the graph as per the schedule. When the locus of all the points is joined, MU curve is derived. MU curve slopes downward from left to right, which shows that MU goes on diminishing with every successive increase in the consumption of a commodity. When MU becomes 0, MU curve intersects the x. The consumption of a commodity brings disutility or negative utility, which is shown by the in the diagram. Assumptions of the law of DMU. As you all know, the laws in economics are based on certain assumptions. Similarly, Professor Alfred Marshall has taken certain assumptions as far as law of DMU is concerned. We'll study all those assumptions one by one. The first one being constancy. The law begins with the words other things being equal. That is, the law assumes that other factors affecting utility of the commodity to be constant. All the related factors like income, taste, habit, preference, income of the consumer should remain constant. Marginal utility of the money is also assumed to be constant. For example, Professor Alfred Marshall assumes that there will be no change in the price or consumer preference. The second assumption which he has taken is that of reasonability. He has assumed that all the units of the commodity consumed are of reasonable size. They are neither too big nor too small. For example, a thirsty person will consume only a glass of water and not a jar of water. Similarly, he will not consume water in a teaspoon. This is being reasonable. And if there is condition of reasonability, only then the law will work. The third assumption taken by Dr. Alfred Marshall is continuity. The law of DMU assumes that all the units of commodity are consumed in quick succession without any lapse of time. That is, there is no time gap between consumption of unit. There is continuity in consumption. The units are consumed back to back. If there is time gap in the consumption, the MU will not diminish. That is, for example, after 1 unit of the commodity is consumed, the consumer cannot consume the next unit of commodity after 2 to 3 hours or the next day, because in that case, the MU will not diminish. In fact, it will increase, which is against the law. Another assumption of law of DMU is homogeneity. Professor Alfred Marshall has assumed that all the units of the commodity being consumed are uniform or homogeneous in nature. They are same or identical in terms of shape, size, color, taste, etc. For example, If the commodity being consumed is a Cadbury Dairy Milk, then all the units consumed also should be of Cadbury Dairy Milk. The consumer cannot change to Dairy Milk Silk. There should not be any switch in the commodity consumed, because in that case the preference or taste of the consumer may change, which is against the law of DMU. The next assumption is cardinal measurement. The law assumes that utility can be cardinally or numerically measured. Hence, mathematical operations are easily possible to know and compare the utility derived from each unit of a commodity. As we have seen in the schedule and graph as well, Professor Alfred Marshall has assumed that utility can be measured in terms of number. For example, 10, 8, 2 and so on. This particular assumption is very much important, because if you have seen the features of utility, you know utility cannot be measured in terms of number. It is ordinally measured. Therefore, professor have taken this assumption in order to make the law work. Another assumption is that of divisibility. The law assumes that the commodity consumed by the consumer is divisible, so that it can be acquired in small quantities. This particular assumption is taken into consideration because indivisibility makes the law difficult. If goods or commodities are not easily divisible, it will be difficult to measure the utility derived from those commodities. Therefore, this assumption helps in measuring the utility by dividing the commodities into smaller parts. This particular assumption, single want, is very much important. It is also one of the fundamental principles of the law. What is this assumption? Professor Alfred Marshall has assumed that a given commodity can satisfy a single want of a person. The law assumes an experience of a single want which is completely suitable at a given point of time. If this particular assumption is not taken into consideration, that means a single commodity can satisfy various wants, which is against the law. In that case, the law of DMU might not apply, as the marginal utility will keep on increasing. The consumer will keep using the commodity to satisfy his various wants. So it is very much important to assume that a particular commodity satisfies a single want at a particular time for the law to work. Last but not the least, assumption of law of DMU is rationality. The consumer is assumed to be rational. The consumer is assumed to be a normal person. It means that his behavior is normal and he tries to maximize his satisfaction. The law will work only in case of rational consumers. The law does not work in case of irrational or abnormal persons or consumers. We have seen the assumptions of the law, the assumptions which forms the basis of the law. Now there are certain exceptions to the law of DMU. What do you mean by exceptions? Exceptions means in this particular scenarios, the law will not work. The law will not hold true. The first exception to the law of DMU is hobbies. In certain hobbies like collection of various stamps and coins, rare paintings, music, reading, etc., the law does not hold true, because every additional increase in the stocks gives more pleasure. Instead of diminishing marginal utility, the marginal utility goes on increasing. However, this violates the assumption of homogeneity and continuity. Another scenario where law does not work, or another exception to the law of DMU, is that of miser. A miser is a person who wants to accumulate more and more wealth and he does not want to even spend it. In the case of a miser, every additional rupee gives him more and more satisfaction. Marginal utility of a money tends to increase with an increase in his stock of money. With every increase in the stock of money, his MU increases. It does not diminish. However, this situation ignores the assumption of rationality, yet it falls under exception to the law. Another exception to the law of DMU is that of addictions. In case of addictions, the marginal utility goes on increasing with every successive unit of consumption, which is against the law. Instead of diminishing marginal utility, the person will have an increasing marginal utility, and therefore it falls under exception. It is observed in case of a drunkard that the level of intoxication increases with every additional unit of the liquor consumed. So MU received by the drunkard may increase. Actually, it is only an illusion. This condition is similar to almost all addictions. However, this particular exception violates the assumption of rationality. One of the very important exception to the law of DMU is money. It is said that the MU of money never becomes zero. It increases when the stock of money increases. This is because money is a medium of exchange which is used to satisfy various wants. However, according to some economists, this law is applicable to money too. For example, marginal utility of a money is more to a poor person than to a rich person. Money does not have a single use and therefore it violates one of the basic assumptions of the law of DMU. So it falls under exception. The last exception to the law of DMU is power. This is an exception to the law because when a person acquires power, his lust for power increases. He desires to have more and more of it. However, this again violates the rationality assumption. With this, we have completed the exceptions to the law of DMU. These exceptions are only apparent. Since they violate some of the other assumptions of the law, therefore, they are not real exceptions but are apparent exceptions. So we have studied statement of law of DMU, assumptions of the law and exceptions to the law of DMU. These three parts will form your law of DMU. That's all for today. Thank you.